In San Antonio, we have over 10,000 years of documented history of Aboriginal people being in the area. Hi, I'm Ramon Vasquez. I am an enrolled member of the Tepilam Coahuiltecan Nation. Spanish records documented over 150 different bands and clans in the missions of San Antonio. They were known as the Pacalate, Pampoa, Tirihai, and each one of the missions had founding American Indian families. All these families were considered or called Coahuiltecan by the Spanish because they were linked together linguistically. One of the corrections that we're trying to make here is that history has called our people here as hunters and gatherers, people that just roamed aimlessly. But the reality, they were actually ancient migratory people, and they moved in migratory ways, just like the animals and the birds. The one thing that's significant is that they always returned home. This was their home. They had a sophisticated knowledge of how to cultivate the land here for their food, and then also how to use the celestial information for their livelihood. In 1690, when the Spanish started arriving, they were in a rancheria, a village of 2,000 payaya, right here close to downtown.
The missionaries didn't show the natives how to farm. Natives showed natives how to farm. My name is Mickey Killian. I am an elder with the Tepilam Coahuiltecan Nation. My ancestors have been here in San Antonio recorded history since the 1750s. Each mission was like a little company on its own. It had its own farms and cattle and so forth. The natives built these missions with their blood, sweat, and tears.
They were the labor force. Not only that, they also became the craftsmen, whether it was masonry or blacksmithing, even horsemanship. The first one was San Antonio de Valero, which was 1718. The second one was 1720, Mission San Jose. The three ones that came later were San Juan Capistrano, San Francisco de la Espada, and Nuestra Señora de la Purísima Concepción. The missions, all the churches have cemeteries. Specifically at the Alamo, there's over 1,000 people recorded, buried there, and 70% of the burials have been documented to be of the Coahuiltecan people. Antonio Jimenez was a native. We believe Gregorio Esparza was also native. Possibly Toribio Lozoya may have been have native blood as well. They were definitely mission families. What you don't hear about is the battles that led up to the Alamo. There were several battles that led up to it and several contributions that American Indians made. In 1835, in the battle preceding the siege of Béjar that led to the Alamo, 21 American Indian men from Mission San Francisco de la Espada mustered to support James Bowie. The cenotaph itself, it's that big monument in front of the Alamo. It's the tomb of the people that fought there. There's a sign that says that this is an empty tomb, paying homage to the people who fought and died here. But the ones that are buried here are Mexicans and Indians. Here in San Antonio, we know of the oldest cemetery, Catholic cemetery, the first one, that has the original people of this land buried there, and the original settlers of this land buried there. We do everything we can to deny its existence. These cemeteries have to be protected, they have to be recorded, and that's part of the work that we're trying to do as well.
The Spanish effectively eliminated the Indian culture, unfortunately, and the Indian languages. What we're doing today is trying to resurrect or reintroduce some of those things. I was born in 1941. By that time, my mother's family had assimilated into the Mexican-American community. Initially, through genealogy, trying to research my Spanish heritage, I ran across the fact that my ancestors were actually Native Americans.
We actually intentionally go out into the communities and we'll organize what we call history harvest. We'll bring the families together, ask them to bring their stories, ask them to bring their family artifacts. We document them, document the histories, and then provide quality scans of their photos for their families, and then we maintain the archives here.
I always knew that I was Native American because my maternal grandmother told me that I was. But In San Antonio, my family was trying so hard to assimilate. They never, ever spoke about being Native American. This is my grandmother, Celia Romero. This is her brother, Feliz. This was her oldest nephew. And this is her mother. We found that the earliest document that mentions my family's name is 1759. I'm probably going to get a little emotional that the footprints of my ancestors back to 1759 were the same place where my daughter and I now walk. It's overwhelming because I still live in that neighborhood. I still go to church there. And that is where my people began.
There's probably 100,000 people from the San Antonio missions that are descendants of those people. And they're still here.
We were never removed from our lands. Our families are still walking on the same ground that our ancestors were buried in for thousands of years.
For me, it's about knowing who you are and where you came from. Because once you know that, nothing else matters.
Our people have contributed and been contributing to this state since the beginning of the first arrival of the first settlers. We've been contributing from the very beginning, and we're still contributing today.